And we are live.
Good morning, everyone. It's the one, the only Senor Silverback with El Cuckoo. We are here today bringing it to you. You can check us out on roguemoney.net and also follow us on Facebook. And check us out on Twitter at The Rogue Money and Rogue Money on every single podcasting app known to mankind. Rogue Money on Steemit, Rogue Money, DTube, Rogue Money everywhere. Tumblr, Apple News, you name it, we're there. Also, guys, here's the deal. Hit the subscribe button, smash that notification bell, and hit us with a thumbs up. Show your love and support for us. It goes a long way to helping this channel grow, especially in the tough, turbulent waters that we're in this new realm of YouTube and this new age of censorship. With that being said, also, guys, check out our sponsors, RemainCalm.net. RemainCalm.net. I am fully involved with these guys, just giving you guys in full disclosure and giving you guys the heads up. Check them out. The team over at Remain Calm, I work with them closely. These guys can help you restore your credit score, the credit score that you deserve. These guys can get you that smart banking option. I mean, God, man, everybody needs a smart banking option. Protect your bank account from all sorts of confiscation and levies. Also, check out their ability to fund you with over $600,000 in unsecured funds from their lending group of 335 lenders. RemainCalm.net also offers the Gold USB. The Gold USB allows you to surf the internet anonymously with 1024-bit elliptical grade, military grade encryption, all the while securing your Bitcoin wallet. RemainCalm.net. With that out of the way, CJ, what's going on, brother?
Hey, doing great, V. Doing great. How are you this morning?
Coughing, but other than that, I'm good.
Coffee.
The cough button.
Yeah, I had a good weekend. Watched some. It was relaxing. Did some work. Watched some UFC. It was a pretty decent fight card Saturday night.
Yeah, my hat's off to my main man, Tony Ferguson. I gave him a shout out on Twitter. Tony Ferguson, El Cucuy, showing why he is the people's champ. Great win over Kevin. That was a great fight, Siege.
Yeah, the top two cards, the top two fights were just incredible.
Yeah, it was. It really was. I mean that fight. I mean, it went to the ground. You had your ground and pound. You had your stand up. You had your tension, your drama, and then eventually El Cucuy was able to tap him out. Made Kevin Lee tap. So the next fight I want to see is Ferguson and McGregor, bro.
That would be a huge card. That would be huge.
That would be an awesome card. That's going to be worth really paying money for. I would watch that fight. Conor McGregor versus Tony Ferguson. That is what I want to see.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I did like, though, just, real quick, I did like, the fact that, the UFC did a lot in terms of, that's less than a week out from the event in Vegas, and the UFC and Dana went out of their way the entire event. They donated over $1 million to the Victims Fund. They had special promo T-shirts, Vegas Strong, that they donated all the proceeds for. And an interesting, apparently, Dana White had invited Jason Aldean, the country singer, to perform because they did do a moment of silence, all that kind of good stuff. Long story short, I guess his PR people responded back and said that he can't. He just has some, he can't make it, something else going on, perhaps. Never gave specific reasons why. But interesting enough, Jason Aldean that night decided to do Saturday Night Live. So Dana White put him on blast on Twitter, and had some choice words for him and said, "Listen, don't come back to Vegas." So anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Seriously, wow, interesting. Yeah, you got something else to do rather than coming out and showing your prowess for Las Vegas. You went out to Saturday Night Live, and honestly, if you took a viewership, I think more people watch the UFC than they watch Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live today is just garbage. It's not the same Saturday Night Live.
Well, and not only that, you want to talk about the most un-American broadcast that's out there right now. That is SNL.
Yeah. Did you see that that whole? I think it was the Jimmy Fallon show where they had a whole bunch of women write their cards, their little love cards to Hillary Clinton while Hillary Clinton.
Oh my God, that was so nasty.
Oh my God, dude, I wanted to vomit. I had like bile building up in my throat. I'm like, what are they doing? He goes, Hillary, I'm with her and I'm still with her. I'm like, this is like the worst thing ever. This is like, yeah, this is like a losing victory lap. It's like you want to do a loser's lap around the entire country, letting the country know how much of a sore loser you are. Then you have these sycophant women who are, and these are the writers for his, some of the writers and staff members at Jimmy Fallon's show. And Jimmy's, again, he's been trying to play neutral as much as he can. He hasn't been going the bash Trump bandwagon, and he's being forced to do this. And so these women are on stage, on Jimmy Fallon's show, and they were literally just swooning over Hillary, just swooning over her, like, "Oh, you're like the greatest politician." And I'm like, and some of them were crying, and then Miley Cyrus, the idiot, comes out and starts talking about how much of an inspiration Hillary is, and starts crying. I'm like, man, I wanted to puke. I wanted to puke. Then I also, funny thing also this weekend, I shouted out, I kind of punched in a Twitter way, what's his name? Keith Olbermann. Okay? Keith Olbermann, that idiot lunatic, has a new book coming out. CJ, have you seen the cover of his new book?
No.
It's called Trump is effing crazy. And it has the U blacked out. So it's F asterisk CKING. It's called Trump is effing crazy, and this is not a joke. And you see Olbermann on the floor with an American flag draped over him, like he's covering his head with the American flag, his whole body. He looks like like some sort of shivering, scared little boy that you pull up from going overboard, and he spent too much time in the water. He's suffering from hypothermia, and you got to put that silver blanket over him to save his body heat. That's like Olbermann on the cover of this book. And I'm like, I started laughing. And I said, Keith, here's the deal. No one's going to buy your stupid book. They're going to put it next to the toilet paper section alongside Hillary's next book signing. I mean, the audacity of this idiot, man.
Yeah, I have to be honest, because I actually replayed the Hillary thing several times, and I actually was closing my eyes and fantasizing.
About what?
And you want to know what I was fantasizing about?
What? You throwing a brick at her face?
That it was no, that those words were actually at her wake.
That would have been beautiful.
That was her funeral. I closed my eyes and I was envisioning that, and that they were there, giving their last words to her.
Oh, that would be great. That would be a dream come true. That would be a dream come true, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, totally, bro. Totally. That would have been great. And the whole thing is like it beleaguers my mind. These libtards live in their own little universe, their own little world. And it's sick, man. It's sick. You have the most criminally insane person in the world. And I love the fact that she's running around the country talking about how she lost. I love the fact she's blaming so many people. I love it, CJ. And I want her to continue doing that. So, Hillary, please, listen to me. Please, continue to go around the country and bitch and moan about how you lost. Because Americans love losers. Right? I mean, after all, we love losers. So, continue. By all means, Hillary. By all means. Oh, man, it's ridiculous. Anyway, bro,
yeah,
a lot of things going on. A lot of things going on in the EU. Spain is showing how democracy works to the Catalonians, and they are violating, including EU's. What is it? Spain violates laws, including the EU's, to shut down the Catalan Parliament. That's wonderful. That's good. That's democracy.
Yeah, so much for democracy, right out the window. And
it's not just democracy, CJ. It's a vibrant democracy, CJ. Vibrant democracy.
And what's amazing is that they're using the voter turnout as their reason for not allowing the independence vote to stand. They're saying, well, you have to remember that less than 50% people actually showed up, but yet they're completely forgetting the fact that they basically stole the ballot boxes. They were basically beating people up as they were voting. And so now there's this huge concentrated effort in part to stage these counter protests, right? I mean, I think the rest of Spain kind of sees the writing on the wall in the event that the Catalan people remove, you're talking about 20% of the GDP, everything that's going down. and then for them to take an elected body, to the Catalan, their actual parliament, and to basically complete shut it down. What kind of message is that? That's just insane, V.
Oh man, totally, bro, totally. And see, you got to say it like a true Spanish person. Catalan.
Catalonian.
You sound like a gringo. Catalan. Come on, bro. It's especially today, CJ. Today is a special day, folks. If you haven't been paying attention, today is no longer Columbus Day in certain cities in the United States. It is Indigenous Peoples Day. Did you know that, CJ?
Yes, yes, yes. I much prefer the PC version of it, V.
Yes, I know. Because let's be honest here. I mean, the peace loving. I mean, think about it. The indigenous people that were in the Western Hemisphere were a bunch of tree hugging, in tune with nature, non-violent groups of people that just lived off the land, and they couldn't understand the horrendous things called land ownership. So that it was such a foreign concept to them. They were such a peaceful, loving group of people, and then along comes the evil white man, and they destroyed everything, dude. It sickens to me they're actually having even the consideration of this whole entire stupid thing called Indigenous Peoples Day. It sickens me to no end. Because I mean, let's be honest here. If it wasn't for the quote unquote evil Europeans, the indigenous peoples living in this country, fast forward 200 some odd years, they'll still be wearing grass skirts and living in mud huts and teepees and riding around, trying to hunt the buffalo.
Yeah, and I don't know what their effort is to rewrite history. It's like every aspect of history they just want to, completely, why don't you spend more time about the future, right? Instead of
Yep.
just stuck on the past. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah, what is the mentality of that?
No, exactly correct, my man. And my whole thing is this: it's like I don't believe I'm not a racist, and I don't believe in racial superiority, but I do believe in cultural superiority. Okay, and in terms of cultural superiority, f the indigenous peoples. That's all I gotta say. What the hell did they do? What do they contribute to human civilization? Nothing. Now people are gonna be, oh my god, how can you say that? Chief Wampum showed us that we can get down with the rain god and blah blah blah. Dude, I don't care. Move on. And human history is written by winners and losers. Okay, it's always about. I'm sorry, it's written by winners, but it's always about winners and losers. It's about conflict and the spoils of war. Whatever land you conquer is yours. This is the way things is. It's just the way things are. Excuse me.
Sorry.
Monday morning.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it boils down to. Instead of focused on, okay, let's, and I tried warning people. People were laughing that when they started taking down the Confederate flag. Do you remember after
Yep.
that white psycho killed those people in their church? They're like, okay, the Confederate flag's got to come down. And
Mm-hmm.
I was warning people. I said, you know what? I said, go ahead and allow them, but guess what? The U.S. flag is next. The
Yep.
U.S. flag is next because there's a large portion of this country that think what that U.S. flag stands for is oppression,
Yep.
is aggression, and although obviously we have differences in terms of the U.S. policy, U.S. what we do in our foreign everything else. It's a systematic people of wanting to take everything down and just completely transition our entire history. What is that?
Mm-hmm. Exactly correct, my man. Exactly correct. And the whole entire thing is this: it's like people, these idiots, have romanticized ideas about how the native populations in the United States were, you know, prior to quote unquote the white man stepping foot in the Western Hemisphere. The native populations were a bunch of uncivilized, brutish savages. They warred against each other. They were absolutely vicious. Okay, they were very aggressive. A lot of them were, not all of them. Okay, so this idea that there's a bunch of tree hugging, peaceful little earth people, it's a bunch of horse crap. It's a bunch of horse crap. And other people will be like, hey, you don't know what you're talking about, V, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Again, you want to, if that's your culture, that's your heritage, that's fine. Celebrate it. Love it. It's all good, man. It's all good. But, at the end of the day, it's just like, that's you do you, we'll do us, and let's move on. There's, more important things to take care of in the future. And at the end of the day, it's just like, I believe in cultural superiority. I don't believe in racial superiority, but I believe in cultural superiority. All cultures are not equal. Moving along before I take on more flaming on the comment section, Siege.
Well, in terms of the actual the landscape is changing, and after the meetings last week, it's truly amazing to be watching history unfold right in front of us. The landscape is just completely changing, and the majority of people are not aware of this huge shift that's occurring. And leading the way is China and their geopolitical influence that is extending far beyond the reaches of Asia,
Hmm.
that we have to understand what is happening. We are every each and every day we are falling behind in the shift and the change that's occurring.
Yeah. This is a game that the Chinese have been playing for so many decades. They've planned meticulously to get to this level. Okay, they, unlike our adolescent sycophant, half pedophile, I'm sorry, three-quarter pedophile, half homosexual Congress. What they do better than them is, they think the Congress over here in the United States think in 4-year increments, and they're constantly thinking about reelection, and they're constantly thinking about the certain non-negotiable aspects of U.S. life, which is the stupid, idiotic foreign policy, which needs to be thrown out as quickly as possible, and then on top of that, the ridiculousness of the economic policies that are in this country as well. Those things are never touched. Okay, never touched whatsoever. Now, what is different about the Chinese, they're thinking in 20, 30-year increments. And it has brought them to this forefront, CJ. And a lot of people are saying that, you have the upcoming, I think the upcoming Congress that's happening
Correct.
On October 18th. It's going to be huge. Okay. And they are going to be making some serious announcements. Okay. Chinese and foreign economic policy shape much of Asia. China's ever growing efforts to build and fund infrastructure around the subcontinent through the initiatives such as the One Belt, One Road have obvious impact on small countries that might otherwise struggle to finance their own projects. Neighbors from Japan to India are watching China for foreign policy cues that affect their iffy diplomatic relationships with the region's major power. This is a game changer. The fact that we've talked about the announcement of the petro yuan with the gold trade settlement, the fact that Saudi Arabia is going to be joining this. Look, there's a reason why the Saudis flew to Russia. Venezuela is already on board for this. The future is here, CJ. It is here. It's unbelievable, man.
Yeah, and we aired the broadcast of Helga's talking about the One Belt One Road project and the infrastructure and the aspect of it, V, that we can have peace and prosperity. We can have nations come together for projects, for development, for infrastructure.
Yeah.
Come up with these ideas of you know uh, building trade that are built around just basically coming to terms that what, it's okay that you can succeed, we can as well, and society can prosper from this, not isolated and controlled down to one country or two countries, or big banks or corporations. I mean, this is something that the entire world around us is opening up their eyes to regarding the One Belt One Road, V, and it's something that every American has to understand for future generations, that we need to wake up, we need to get on board with the program, because we are in a world of hurt right now, V.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. We're in an absolute world of hurt. China, is we don't have a solution. That's the problem. Our solution is either we're going to bomb the crap out of you. Our solution is going to be we're going to do, whatever it takes to, um, to exploit a country. We're not offering any solutions. Like, what do people want? I mean, look what we did to Europe. Screw the Russian gas you guys are getting here. Buy gas from us. But your gas is 50% more expensive and it's unreliable. That's all right. We're friends. Here, buy it. We're gonna force you to buy it. This is not how you win deals, man. Okay, this is not how you win deals. And it's like we're not allowing talented individuals, who knows how to handle deals and whatnot, to run the ship. We are allowing morons with no talent or tact to be on the global stage to make the decisions and the shot calls for us, and that's going to be a serious problem. again and again and again. And with all this talk about this change in the U.S. economy, which I see very little of because of the shenanigans that's happening with Congress. There's not a single thing we're doing now, Siege. Okay, this is late in the game. I mean, let's be honest. Call for what it is. This is late in the game. Siege, in the time that you and I have been doing this, have you heard one shred of news of the U.S. or any U.S. entity getting involved in the Silk Road?
Not one word. No.
Same here. Have you heard about anything about the U.S. working with the Chinese and the Russians to an economical, mutually beneficial agreement on anything?
Nothing.
What have we been hearing since we've been doing this, CJ? The U.S. is what? Or are we getting more news of the U.S. being disruptive, sabotagey, right? Acting like destructive saboteurs on the global economic stage. Is that the type of news we're hearing?
Yeah, I mean sanctions and everything else that's occurring around the globe.
Yeah. So it's ridiculous, man. And let's talk about the latest tantrum. The latest tantrum, CJ, that the U.S. threw because of King Salman going to Moscow and bowing before the real king of the Middle East, which is my man Vlad. Let's talk about that tantrum right there.
Yeah, I mean, so post, not only with King Salman going into, meeting with Putin, and then also with Turkey, but let's talk about this initially. So this weekend, out of result of those meetings, the U.S. announced it's suspending military exercise in the Gulf countries.
Oh, boo!
Which is more likely a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So basically what's happened is U.S. Central Command Colonel John Thompson announced that the decision was made in an effort to rebuke the Arab countries entangled in a months-long diplomatic spat with Qatar, which was said to have eroded cooperation in the region. Do you think that's the real reason why they did it? No.
No. Absolutely not. The ridiculous exercise called Eagle Resolve, okay, was basically canceled. Eagle Resolve, which has been going on since 1999, every year at this time, they do this ridiculous exercise. Excuse me 1 second, I got a cough. Yeah, so they do this ridiculous exercise. And now they're not doing it. They're not doing it because, you know what? Saudi Arabia is on board with what Russia is offering. So is the UAE. So is Bahrain. So is Egypt. Who does the U.S. have left now in the Middle East, man? Jordan? Israel.
Yeah, that's it.
Lost Turkey. Well, you practically lost Saudi Arabia. You're in the process of losing Saudi Arabia. The UAE is gone. They got their own cahoots. They have their own interests, and the UAE and Egypt is pretty much tied at the hip because the UAE owns much of Egyptians' debt. Lost Egypt, you lost the UAE, lost Saudi Arabia, lost Bahrain. Yemen is no friend of ours because we want to bomb the Houthis. Oman has no interest in us. Qatar is left, but they're not too happy with us. They're actually getting involved with the energy deals with Rosneft and Sinopec. What do we have? We got Israel. That's good. That's good. We just Israel. I'm sure we can do very well with that. We have nothing. We have nothing. This is what I call winning strategies, CJ. I filed this under winning strategies. And this is what I said, man. Years ago, I said our foreign policies will lead us to isolationism. Is this not isolationism, CJ? Is this not what we're seeing?
Very much an isolated country right now. Very much.
Yeah. Which brings us to the economic and diplomatic warfare against Turkey. Their lira crashed. Had a flash crash. Now it's back up.
And then, I mean, good.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, in terms of the diplomatic ties, which, ever since the failed coup attempt that occurred there, it's been deteriorating from there. We documented that. We've talked about it a long time. So now Turkey moves forward and arrest a U.S. consulate employee in Istanbul for alleged links to Gulen, who, obviously he's basically, creating a lot of disturbance, a lot of difficulties there in Turkey. However, one thing, V, that's very interesting about this is that, flip this forward to what Turkey just did in terms of buying weapons, from Russia, right? They just did that. And now all of a sudden the US is saying, well, wait a minute here. We're going to suspend all non-immigrant visa services in Turkey, and at the same time waging a currency war against the lira.
Yeah, exactly correct, man. Exactly correct. And here's the thing, man. The Turkish lira, okay, was greatly affected by the economic war. Okay, Fethullah Gulen. If Fethullah Gulen is more than just some castaway, some sort of you know person seeking refuge. Fethullah Gulen is a CIA asset. Okay, he's a goon. He's a CIA U.S. goon. And people that are connected with Fethullah Gulen, Fethullah reached out to certain military leaders, to certain political leaders, to certain leaders that are within the government of Turkey, and tried to plot a coup against Recep Erdogan. Okay, and that coup last year in July backfired horribly. Erdogan recognized what it was, and he understood the great risk that was happening. You know what Erdogan did, man? That was a momentous thing. That event kind of made me look sideways at the man that I would call the turd in the hummus bowl. And I don't like Erdogan. Erdogan is still a thug in my book. But what he did was this: he called on the people of Turkey to help him. And you know what happened? Millions of Turks flooded the streets and started beating the crap out of the military personnel that were trying to initiate the coup. The Turkish people saved their own country against a US-backed terroristic coup operation. What do you expect Turkey to do after that with the US? Are they going to be chummy with the US? No, we have proven ourselves time and time and time again to be unreliable partners, unreliable allies. I mean, think about this, man. This is like, this guy coming up to you. He's really shady. He's really sketchy. He's got a shady, sketchy past. You're not going to trust this guy. All the while, he's like telling you, "Oh, the reason why I have a 9-inch knife in my back pocket is, is there for, I get itches on my back and I use it to scratch my back." You're waiting for this guy to just like, okay, this guy's got a knife. He's sketchy. Everybody else he's dealt with and has been friends with has either wound up getting killed or hurt. What should I do? Maybe this guy wouldn't hurt me. And all of a sudden, when he tries to hurt you and you break away free and you get away from him, and then later on he comes back, hey, that was just a misunderstanding. I wasn't trying to kill you. I just, I have, these spasmodic episodes that are beyond my control, but I'm on medication now, so I'm feeling much better. But yes, the knife is still in my back pocket. Yeah, I still use it to itch my back, and no, I won't kill you. Let's be friends. You're going to be like, hell no, you're a nut job. I have nothing to do with you. It is the same situation right now with the U.S.-Turkish relation. Why on earth would the Turks want to trust the U.S.? And then on top of this, rather than smoothing things over and be like, listen, we don't know what that was. It's a deep state move. Call it the deep state. Call it whatever you want. And then come out with it. Rather than saying, hey, Turk, we're sorry about that. We weren't fully aware. This is not government sanctioned by us, the government. This is a rogue operation by the Cocaine Import Agency. We're trying to find out who was behind it, and we'll bring these people to justice. Rather than doing that and saving face, you know what we do? We go ahead and we fund the YPG. We go ahead and we fund the Kurdish group, a group of nomads that have no land for thousands of millions of years, basically, right? Who have no historical ties to any of the parts and parcel of that land, and we back them, whom the Turks hate, and tell them to set up a homeland right on the border between Syria and Turkey. Turkey's like, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, who's doing U.S. strategy? I think it's these pimple-faced kids who grew up in academia. Now they're working in quote-unquote intelligence agencies. And I say that euphemistically. I say the word intelligence in describing these faculties and these outfits, CJ, in a very euphemistic way. There is no intelligence among them, and this is what happens. this is what happens.
Bingo.
Like, who's writing the foreign policy? Like, is there anybody in charge in D.C.? Like, I know. They should let Jared Kushner. They should let he should write the new Turkish policy. After all, he's in charge of the African policy now. Brace yourself for that one, CJ.
Yeah, and to be witnessing the systematic takedown, of all these things that occurred, and Erdogan has a lot of dirt on both vice versa, right? So he knows a lot of things the U.S. involved with Syria, right? And likewise, he's no innocent, Mr. Innocent, in regards to his efforts there. But what we're witnessing right now is just a complete systematic takedown. There's reports coming out that ISIS and fighters by the thousands now are basically just surrendering.
Yep.
Are surrendering and guess what? It's because their monthly paycheck that was coming in from who has stopped.
I wonder who I wonder who is cutting them a check.
The weapons are no longer coming in. The funding is no longer coming in, and so now we're witnessing this, just a major turning point to be watching these so-called we will fight to the death and everything else now turning themselves in thousands.
Mm-hmm. You're going to see the mass surrender of USIS in mass. You're going to see this mass surrender of them. Because now, the pincer maneuver, okay, of Russia, of Syria, and even China in the background, okay, they are in the background monitoring the funds, monitoring the wires, using their advanced supercomputers, seeing where the money's going. And the outmaneuvering of Vladimir Putin versus the U.S. stooges and the deep state has caused this to come about. My hat's off. May God bless Vladimir Putin. May God bless those Russian soldiers. May God bless Bashar al-Assad, the Syrian people, the Syrian Arab army, where Christians and Muslims are fighting side by side, where Muslims are showing up to the churches to be blessed by the Christian pastors and priests before both Muslims and Christians join hand in hand to go fight ISIS, these crazy Wahhabi fanatical death cult. Okay? God bless the Syrian people. They were an ideal secular country in the Islamic world in the Middle East. The U.S. has tried to create a fundamentalist country, which, fundamentalism is to be. In order to be a fundamentalist, you just need a 70 IQ. And that's what you want. Once you have a 70 IQ, you're easily manipulatable. And that's the whole goal of the U.S. Get a bunch of fundamentalist Islamic countries around. So this way, they're too stupid to do anything. You can go ahead and grab the oil and the resources. Didn't work out. Didn't work out as planned. Thank God. Thank God put a stop to this whole entire thing.
Yeah, times are changing. I feel like we're kind of in the calm right now before the storm of everything that's occurring. But just systematically, it seems like every bit of the deep state, the cabal, all their operations is systematically coming down.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to see the continued surrender of that, CJ. Siege, back to the U.S., back to the sickness that is the what is fast becoming the decline, deprecation, and end of the Western culture itself. Child porn site ran by police for over a year. Reminds me of the FBI one. What is this crap all about, bro?
Yeah, so we covered several months ago in regards to one of the sites, which I think was called Playpen.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly. Yeah, Playpen. Yeah, in which basically what happens is the same thing in this situation. And we're glad that these people were arrested. We're glad that this site was taken down. So basically what happened for you is that a joint effort of Australian police, Canadian police, as well as the U.S. Department of Homeland Security decided basically for the course of over a year to hack and to manage a child porn website called Child's Play. And this reached over a million different registered users, accounts. Hard to imagine that in the event that the course of this investigation took over a year is the fact that they were actually, the police U.S. were actually uploading images, uploading video to keep these things happening. And the victims, the amount of victims through the course of the year. Can you imagine how many other children became victims because of this continuation of this site? And in fact, there was a child that, as I can't remember how I'll read it here, how young she was, but they knew of a situation in which they had obtained emails that one of these young girls was going to be raped, and they're going to upload and stream it. They could have stopped that, but they still allowed it to happen. They allowed it to continue. So what's the point of these investigations take over year, these running these programs? It doesn't make any sense, V, at all.
Yeah. No, it doesn't make any sense. It's disgusting, and every time I hear about this kind of crap, it boils my blood, and my left eye starts to twitch. What needs to be done is for pedophiles to be killed. That is straight up. That is straight up. You are a convicted pedophile. You have harmed children, and there is irrefutable evidence that you have harmed children, that you are guilty as charged. I'm not talking about accusations. I'm talking about real evidence, real harm to children. And if you've harmed multiple children, you should be killed. If you have harmed one child, you should be locked up for life and have your nuts cut off, your genitals removed from you. If you've harmed more than one, you should be killed instantaneously. Not only should you be if you harmed one child, let me reiterate: if you harm one child, have your nuts cut off, have your genitals removed, and lop off both your hands. Okay, lop off both your hands, and spend the rest of your life rotting in a jail cell, lifetime sentence. You have harmed multiple children. You should be lined up to all you pedophiles should be lined up against a wall, face a wall, okay, and one by one have a bullet splatter and paint the wall with your brain matter, one by one by one by one. That is what you do. You freaking kill them. You give them the worst death possible. I don't care if you got to run them through a bandsaw, cut them in half, literally. I don't care. It is the most heinous, most evil crime. And I'm looking at these pictures of these sycophants. Like, dude, if I ever catch one of these guys, out in public, CJ, I will literally beat them to death, happily, with a smile on my face, a twinkle in my eye, and a song in my heart, CJ.
Yeah, I mean, and we're not talking about just images. The year long that allowed these things to come, and it's sometimes difficult to talk about it. It really is, and also for our listeners. But you're talking about an inner circle within this website that were exchanging child torture videos. You're talking about them knowing and seeing emails of an arrangement for basically a guy to allow their 4-year-old child to be raped and to be recorded. The crimes that were committed by these two individuals, by this community, yeah, it's difficult to talk about. And for the course of close to a year, this site was managed. They were able to get one of the guy's email address right away to acknowledge where he was, who he was, primarily because of one of his accounts that he had. He, crazy enough, had used his email address, and that's how they were tracking. But to actively be, hosting, to be uploading and all these, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that this was eventually taken down, but it's just shameful because the amount of more victims that probably occurred because of this year-long effort to let this continue happen.
Look, this is what I call bitch ass policing, right? This is bitch ass policing. What you do is you got to rewrite the laws that if you capture a pedophile involved in a child sex trafficking ring, what you need to do is torture the holy shit out of them. And once you torture the crap out of them, you make them give up every single name. Because look at these, look at this, look at the image of these idiots, right? Look, I mean, CJ, you pull up the article, you can see the picture of these guys like Benjamin Faulkner, aka Warhead Curious Vendetta, and then Patrick Faulty, aka Crazy Monk. They're little online handles. Do you think for 1 second these little turds can handle any sort of pain? Dude, I'd have these guys confessing to everything. I'd have them giving up names, email addresses. I'd have them give up literally everything. And once they give up everything, then you go after you. That's how you start taking down network. Every other country, in Russia, that's what they do. The cops just beat the crap out of you until you start singing like a canary. I know this to be true in a certain Southeast country, in certain Asian countries I've been to. Same thing. Try pulling this stunt there. You don't. You have the snot kicked out of you. There's a fear there. Over here, there's due process of law, and you got some liberal attorney who just graduated from Harvard Law, some lawyers from Harvard Law, and they come from Harvard, and they try to defend these miscreants, okay, these deviant, disgusting human beings. And we have a bread and circus for the next several months before they're even convicted. Screw that. It's got to change, man. It's got to change now. And I think I recommend vigilante groups. I don't care. I recommend vigilante groups. Find out who these guys are. Track these pedophile, child sex trafficking networks, and kill them. Beat the hell out of them. Kill them. Do whatever you want. If you can kill them and get away with it, do it. If you want to beat the crap out of them, dump them in front of a police station with both their legs and their arms broken, and maybe their spine. I recommend breaking the spine. Break it at least at the L1 level. Okay, so this way or maybe even at the cervical column. Right, just snap it over there and leave them in the police station. Done. That's how you solve pedophilia. Yeah. That's how you end human sex trafficking. That's because the punishment has to be so egregious. You know what the sad part is, CJ? The guys like these guys will only get maybe 5, maybe 10 years in prison. Then they're out, bro. That's it. And they're back to harming people again. Even though they have to move to a community and register as a sex offender, it doesn't stop them from doing nothing. Bro, don't you think, as a parent, I look at, who I pull up online, who are the local sex offenders living near me? I look at it, seeing who's around. And if I recognize you, I'm going to be watching you. Oh, I'm going to be watching you. You're going to have a 265-pound gorilla watching you. And one false move, I will snap you very quickly. Disgusting, CJ. That's how you got. They got to make the punishment so egregious. I recommend vigilante groups. Look, law enforcement ain't going to do its job. The politicians who have written the laws in pedophilia make sure that the pedophiles get the softest sentencing. They get away scot-free. I recommend vigilante justice. Either if you can kill them and get away with it, then do it. Believe me, you're doing the Lord's work. If you can, I highly recommend, maybe perhaps beating the crap out of them, and then taking their evidence and whatnot, and their computers, whatnot, dumping them alongside their carcass in front of a police station somewhere or a location where law enforcement can find them. But I also recommend maybe breaking their spine so they cannot move their arms and legs, and this way they can never harm another child again. Okay? I don't care. Get rid of these people. That being said, Cedric, brings us to the end of the show because London Paul's next, and I'm done ranting.
Yep, no, absolutely, yes. We have London Paul will be joining us here at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know that he's going to have a lot to share, so make sure you tune right back with us here shortly.
Yep. With that being said, folks, we're over and out. Take it away, CJ.